When someone gets banned and creates a new account to get back in, a ban tied to an account or email address doesn't do much. To make bans stick, you need a signal that persists even when email or IP addresses change. In this video, I'll show you how to use Fingerprint to enforce browser and device level bans. We'll look at a mock ticket resale marketplace where a banned user can simply use a different email address and keep posting, and then we'll add Fingerprint to block that device regardless of what account is being used. Here's what that looks like without any protection in place. First, we've got our fake marketplace here, and I could basically list tickets that I want to resell. So I'm go ahead and make a listing. Sounds good. Now let's pretend that we're going to flip over to admin mode, and for some reason these tickets are no good and we want to ban the seller and get rid of the listing. So I'm going to go ahead and click ban seller. That is banning their email, and I'm going to remove the listing. Now let's go back to our original view, and maybe we want to post a new listing even though I've been banned. I try and post a new listing, tells me I have been banned from posting listings. Well, that's fine. I can just change my email. And there we go. I'm now able to go ahead and put it in what I want. The servers only check in whether the account, or in this case, the email, is banned. There's no record of which device posted the listing. So a new account is basically a clean slate every single time. Okay, now let's take a look and see what this looks like with Fingerprint added in the purple version. So again, go ahead and make my first submission, flip over to admin mode. We're gonna ban that seller. Maybe it's a fake ticket. And go back to regular mode now and trying to post a new listing. Okay, I've been banned, we can see that. If I go ahead and maybe change my email address, nope, I'm still being banned. Okay, what if I open this in incognito mode and also use a different email address again? Something else? How about now? Nope, I'm still being banned. Fingerprint gives the server a consistent identifier for the device behind each request. So when a ban is recorded against that identifier, it follows the browser device rather than the account. Okay, let's take a look at how this is being implemented. So if I go back now, let's go to our code. Okay, the first thing we want to do is bring in the Fingerprint JavaScript agent using our public API key. I'm going to go down to where that submit button event listener is happening, and that's where we want to identify the visitor with Fingerprint. So we're using the get function, and that will return to us an event ID that we can use later on to get the full details about this visitor. I'm going to pass that event ID along with the listing information, all the event details in this case, and I'm going to pass that to my backend. Now on the server side, I'm just going to continue to pass along all that data from the body to my post listing function. That listing function lives in listing.js. And the first thing I'm going to do here is bring in the Fingerprint server API client. Here I'm using my secret API key. Make sure not to expose that on the front end. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the event ID here instead of the email, right? So instead of trying to tag things to the email, we're going to use data from Fingerprint. So first I need to get the full identification event using the event ID. This includes things like the visitor ID, bot detection, VPN detection, browser tampering, etc. Now, before I even get into my actual ban evasion checks, I'm going to include a check for the suspect score here. Suspect score is basically just a grouping of all of our smart signals into one single number. The higher the score, the higher the suspicion, and the more anomalous that particular visitor is. So you can use this to block or throttle activity. Here I'm going to bring in the visitor ID. Now this is a stable identifier that doesn't change even with IP address changes or cookie clearing. And that's what we're going to be using to tie our bans to instead of the email address. So basically what I'm going to go through here is wherever I'm using the email address, I'm going to swap it with the visitor ID. So this is going to happen throughout the rest of our functions here that we're using. So in this case, I've got an isSellerBanned function as well as the function to save the result of the listing to actually post the listing. But again, we're going to go through and just check all of these other areas that have email. So I'm going to go through here. In our ban function, we're going to be using the visitor ID to ban instead of the email address, right? So all the way through with my SQL queries here. Same thing with the save listing. You want to make sure you're actually saving the visitor ID alongside the listing information. So later on, when I want to query if this visitor ID has been banned, I can just use that data that's been saved alongside it. Same thing here in the isSellerBanned function, we're using the visitor ID. All right, now let's go back. We're gonna refresh, we're gonna reset our demo database and start fresh. Now we have Fingerprint added. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my first listing, good to go. Switch over to our fake admin mode here and ban the seller and remove that listing. Now let's go back to regular mode. Let's say I want to try and post the listing again. I've been banned, but let me change the email. Let's see if I'm still banned. Yep, still banned. Now let's open this up in incognito mode and try again with a different email here as well. And nope, I'm still being banned. Okay, so account level bans, they're pretty easy to get around, but Fingerprint lets you move the enforcement down to the browser or device level. So a new email address or a new account doesn't just reset the ban. In a real implementation, you can combine device-level bans with account data as part of a broader enforcement strategy, but take a look at the full tutorial in the example application to see a step-by-step guide and try it for yourself. Take care.